Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just wanted to throw up a quick video of transmission break-in. So the '07 Mega Cab currently has about 150 miles on the trans. Normally on like a big competition build, I will do the fluid, like go beat on it on the street and then check bands and stuff. On something more milder like this, you know, that 6, 8, 900 horsepower stuff, usually I tell people within the first 200 miles. If it's like a tow truck, usually 500 miles. But you want to drain the fluid and also drop the pan, check our band adjustments, make sure we don't have a ton of metal in it. I usually push my own stuff a little further because I have that line pressure gauge. As soon as I see the line pressure start to dip, I know the filter's plugging. On this transmission for the Mega Cab, we had a fresh torque converter, which it's going to shed a little bit. Fresh clutches, which will shed a little bit. Fresh band. The output shaft bushing especially will kind of shed a little bit. All of our thrust bearings will shed a little bit. As well as if you had a dirty assembly, all that stuff starts to make its way out of the transmission as well. So I'm going to show you guys the fluid as well as the pan. I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled and then show it to you guys once it's off. Now, I wanted to make sure you guys caught the pan coming off on time lapse so I didn't get accused of anything. But you guys can see here, we have the transmission pan off. We run that early 47 RH style filter, which is a completely open element, which lets us see. If you guys look, the fluid is extremely red, which is good. But you see, you could actually start to make out the pleats in the filter. I would say this filter is fine. It's not what I would consider plugged. But this kind of shows you how much of that material is there. This color, that grayish color, that is majority of the GPZ material. If you guys look right here on our band adjustments, usually 1 7/8, 1 7/8, 1 3/4. I actually just use my finger. Again, Levon Miller from Firepunk has said that they use an 8mm Allen wrench. I just go till it crushes my finger. I can tell you that this band's gonna need about 1/4 of a turn. Probably was a little rough on it with all those locked 1-2 shifts for burnouts, but you know what? That is the price you pay to play. So we'll adjust that band, like I said, about 1/4 turn in. That's still plenty fine. It didn't damage it. Our low reverse band is back here, and this one, yeah, feels about right. Usually I don't adjust those all too much. In our pan here, you guys can see, if you look real close, you see that metallic kind of bronze here. Let me grab a little bit of finger. Like that metallic bronze color. That's normal on a fresh tranny. If you refresh a trans that has used shafts and stuff, that debris starts to go away. Again, it goes away pretty quick. It's mainly just the what's the word, the bushings and stuff. And then if you look, there is our magnet right there. Very little debris on it. This is exactly what you want to see. You're going to see some debris even on a trans. Every 40,000 miles you service it, it's very normal to see debris in there. Automatic transmissions wear. That's just kind of what they are. And then here is our fluid that came out. Let me get it in the light a little better here. As you guys can see, very red in color. Not much gray scale or clutch material in there. The fluid smells like regular tranny fluid. So ideally, this is exactly what you'd want to see in a pan. And in a 40,000 mile service, you know, the fluid might change color a little bit. It'll start to get kind of a little bit more dingy brown. But this is ideal for a transmission break-in service. This looks really good. I'm not alarmed. Again, the second your band's stretched, that's normal. That's why every trans builder tells you to check your bands, especially on a higher horsepower build, because with all that line pressure, that band is going to stretch a little bit. It's going to wear, shed material, shed lining. So all of this is very normal. And again, guys, there are a lot of shops that build 47, 48 trucks. I will be the first person to tell you that I make mistakes from time to time. It happens. That's why I do these quick fluid checks and stuff, because if you can catch a problem early on, it does a lot less damage than when you just keep going and going and going and it costs you a band. It'll score up the drum. It can destroy, you can fill your converter full of material. You can smoke clutches, warp steel. So that initial break-in service, I don't care if you buy a trans from me or anybody else, they're going to give you those instructions. It's very important to follow those. Reason being, it, number one, verifies that the transmission is working correctly as it should. It got built correctly. Number two, with all of that break-in debris, if you do not change the filter, you could take a tranny that had no issues, and if I would have kept going, let's say 1,000 miles without getting that debris out, I might have plugged the filter and totally destroyed that transmission. So again, make sure you follow your break-in procedures. Make sure you're adjusting your bands on these 47, 48s. If you let a band adjustment get away from you, it can score up the drum. It can destroy the band. And a lot of shops won't install a slip-in band. I usually will on like a race trans, but if it's a regular trans, I don't like to do that. So you'll have to pull the whole transmission apart to fix it. So adjust your bands. I know I've seen the Muldoon's instruction sheet. He gives you the specs. Most tranny builders, if you just message them, like you've already spent thousands of dollars with them, like the least I'm going to do is answer a message saying, adjust it to this. And if you are confused or anything like that, just send pictures of what you find in your pan to your trans builder. Show them a picture of the filter, picture of the trans pan. Is this normal? Is this not? Majority of the time, they're going to respond to you, as soon as they can. And that goes for, I would say, most tranny builders. They want you to be happy with your purchase. Trannies are not cheap. And I feel like transmissions, when they go great, is awesome. When they go bad from the get-go, that's usually the customer just feels totally cheated. So as far as that goes, whoever builds your tranny, for me, that first break-in, I want to see it. I want to see it, and I want to make sure that I did a good job. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but this ideally is exactly what you want. Again, this tranny fluid has about 150 miles on it. Yes, I did beat the life out of it. So, if it would have been an issue, we would have found it by now. My line pressure had not dipped yet, but we're installing the tranny cooler. So I wanted to just go ahead and do the service, adjust the bands, so we are ready to go. Again, a very short video. Hopefully this will show you guys exactly why it's so important to do that service, adjust the bands, adjust the fluid. I recommend on my trannies, if you're just like on David's, like every time we get done with an event, he's pulling the pan, we're checking the filter, checking the bands, fresh fluid if we need to. That fluid in my bucket there is going to go right back in. A lot of times you can do that. And then if you're like just my mega cab, any kind of towing trans, stuff like that, I always recommend, guys, 40,000 miles service interval. And again, whoever builds your trans, use their advice. This is just what I found works really good. So hopefully you guys like this video. Drop a comment down below if you have any more tranny questions. Subscribe if you are not already, guys, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the next one.